Welcome to the Anibros podcast. In this edition, we have our special guest, the P. Rizzler,
himself,
back on the mic to lay down the truth about what anime he's watched. There's a lot of rumors flying around, especially coming out of Mongolia. Those pirate radio stations, they're trying to tell us that you've been watching just thousands and thousands of anime per day, but this can't be true, and we really need to narrow it down and really get it solidified for the history books.
You know, I don't know if you knew this, but there's a Reddit subpost dedicated solely to trying to figure out what anime I'm about to watch for the next Anibros episode.
Oh yeah, that subpost.
Yeah. I mean, they have a lot of, what is it called? A subreddit? Is that what it's called?
Are you sure it's an entire subreddit, or is it just one sub-post dedicated to what you're about to watch?
It's a subreddit. You know, it's just a lot of mystery and theories and people just scrounging around trying to figure out what is this guy going to be watching next.
Let's clear out all the dead ends, all the red herrings, and really just spoil it for everyone. Unless you don't want to be spoiled, then turn off the podcast now.
You know, it's my same feeling with, 1 second, I'm eating a little. I got some steak and sweet potato and a little kale and such. Anywho, you know, it's my same feeling with House of Cards. It's going to be coming out soon, but, you know, I just don't want any spoilers for how it'll end, so I'll probably just not watch it. That's a lie, of course. It's like 10 times better than any anime out there. And just a note for all listeners out there, you'll notice Laven, he was sadly off on official Anibros business, and that's why he won't be in this particular episode, but you know, we aren't trying to, I don't know, stage some kind of coup d'etat, you know, replace him with me or something outrageous, which is another thing I've seen in that subreddit, and I just want to quell all the facts.
Right.
I am not implying that there will be any kind of coup d'etat, all right?
Just putting that out there.
Yeah. All right, so I think everyone knows the drill. I go through the anime I've seen recently. I'll watch the whole episode. You know, on most of them, that was hard to do, and I'll just give you my my impressions. All right, the first one, Kofuku Graffiti.
Oh man.
I believe its English version is Gourmet Girl Graffiti. Although I could be wrong, I don't know. It starts out, there's this 8th grade girl, and she's making food that looks really good, but it doesn't really taste that good. And when she eats it, she does it in a very sexy way. If you will allow me to try to, through the audio podcast, show you how she does it. She would, for example, take this steak, which is currently in my fork, and be like, oh my, the meat, dude, the juice, well, orgasm, okay, yeah, that's good.
And I just have to imagine sparkles and that you're wearing lip gloss.
Holy cow, if you like to hear people yammer on about food in Japanese, this is the show for you. If, however, you don't know what kind of food they're talking about, you don't speak the language, and you don't care to hear someone yammer on and on about, oh, the rice was cooked just perfect, oh, it's golden brown, you know, then maybe this anime ain't for you, because I get that. Just look at any of the posters, and you'll find, like, some cute little girls surrounded by food. Just food everywhere. You know, what was that, the one where the girl goes to the island, Spirited Away. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Now, in that, I think they have a kind of festival thing with a ton of food, and imagine that, but not as well drawn, and I think that's basically what this whole anime is based on, someone who happened to see that one scene.
And they just decided to expand on that scene.
Yeah. So, 8th grade girl making food, but, I don't know, it just doesn't taste good. So she gets a call from her aunt, who is like, I'm a little confused. Is she just working all the time, or for whatever reason she's not there? And she's like, oh, your second cousin who you've never met, she's going to come and live with you, and you both will be going to the same school, all-girls school.
does the 8th grade girl live alone then, right?
Well, it's a little hard to tell. It seems like she's living with her aunt, but it also seems like her aunt's never there.
Well, the aunt has to call her on the phone to tell her this thing, so...
Yeah. So this second cousin comes, and you get the feeling like the second cousin has specifically asked to come to this one school so she can be with this girl who she's never met. Maybe they explain it in the future, but I'm just kind of like, that's a weird reason to go to a school. I mean, I don't know if I'd even know my second cousins that well. So they both go, and her second cousin, she's short, she's lively, and she likes food. So good matchup. If she hated food, I mean, that'd be a terrible thing for this anime. But as it turns out, her cousin didn't wear a coat because she's from some little hick town, and she's going to the big city, and she's never seen, people don't wear coats in Tokyo, so she wasn't going to wear one. And you know what happens when a Japanese person gets a little cold.
Oh.
They get a cold and start getting the sniffles.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the end of the episode, the other person's got the cold. I cannot tell you how many anime this trope keeps appearing in, but this is yet another one of them.
That's why they have free healthcare over there. It's just because of all the colds.
It's just, here's your cold medicine. Wear a coat, for crying out loud, my word.
Don't forget your umbrella.
Just pay someone to stand out on street corners, and whenever they see some young child walking around without a coat, just walk up and be like, here, put on a coat. The program would pay for itself. Anywho, they go to school their first day, and some boring stuff that I don't care to reiterate happened, and then they come back, and she's and it's amazing. The food, suddenly it tastes amazing. And what it is when you eat with other people, food tastes better.
Well,
there's a little lesson for the audience. You didn't think you were going to stumble into one, but there it is.
It's the moral of the story right there.
Now, you might be saying to yourself, this doesn't strike me as enough material for an entire episode. Yeah, it's not. If any of the makers of this anime are listening to the podcast, which I assume they are, you have the statistics, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty big in Japan. Maybe try to think of more things to put into an episode other than just anime characters eating food. And who knows, maybe you'll get some more stuff.
Now, they've still got like 11 more episodes to go, though. So,
Yeah.
Maybe they have a couple more
what
things
do you think
planned.
Every single episode's going to be like, oh, we got to enter the baking contest in order to save the day. Oh, we're going to this other town, which is known for its food. And,
we're going to the festival where they have food. I watched a TV show where they made food.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess if that's your thing, I'm pretty sure that's what this show's going to be about. I will mention, it did seem there was a little, I don't know, the two cousins just seemed friendly. All right, I'll put it at that.
Oh, yeah.
They also would cut to some girl standing on a balcony, and she'd like call and say, yes, I'd like to order a pizza for one. And then it went away from her. And I was like, oh, I guess she's probably going to show up in the future as like a friend who also likes food. Or maybe they have to teach her that food can be good because she was emotionally, hurt by food in the past. I don't know. The whole premise of just 100% food all the time, all day long. It gets your Gourmet Girl Graffiti. I think you need to pick a more lively subject than just food. But I don't know. Maybe in Japan, this is how you teach kids stuff.
Teach them what?
It's be like, hey, did you see that new calculus anime? And you're like, well, do you think they're just trying to teach us calculus? No, that's impossible. I think they just randomly, maybe people are concerned the kids these days don't know how to cook, and bam, here you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and if you couldn't tell, I would give that anime a thumbs down.
Yeah. I made it to the the third episode. I could tell it was really bad from the first one, but the girl on the balcony, the girl ordering the pizza for one, I wanted to see how she would come into the show, because she seems that she's at odds.
Was I far off from the mark?
Well, I watched 3 episodes and it never showed her again.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, well, and then the 2 cousins just got friendlier and friendlier, so I'm like, okay, I guess that's the point of this show. So.
Oh my. Did they talk about food in the second and third episodes by chance?
Yeah, they happen to.
Well, on to the next one. Binani, Kuau, Chiku, Boyu, Boo, Love.
All right.
I believe its English version is Cute High Earth Defense Club Love.
Oh, okay. The Magical Boys show.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't realize it was real popular.
I haven't seen it. That's what it looks like from the picture.
Yeah, that's accurate. So we start off, there are 2 high school lads in a public bath before they head off to school, which, I don't know, maybe that's common in Japan. Personally, I take my baths by myself at night, so...
Wait, so it's the morning before school and they're in the public bathhouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
They mentioned they like getting there early so that they'll be the only ones there. And he's like, yeah, bro, that's hardcore. It's not gay at all. Yeah, get some. And so this teleporter opens up right beside him, and this pink pig-looking alien comes out. And he's like, hey, boys, why don't you say, show me around town, teach me about Earth. And they're like, what? And so they are all running away. And then a third boy who, runs the bathhouse pops in and is like, oh, it's a koala bear. And just starts running after it. And then the alien's like, no, we'll get away. And yeah. So they, run off to school, and yeah, that's crazy. And he said, yeah, but they get to school, and there's this human walking around, and he's got the pink pig. They call it a wombat-looking thing, but it looks kind of like a furry pig to me, under his arm. And what's happened is the pig thing is basically using this puppet person to walk around and write things on the board because he's going to be their new teacher, I guess, and move his mouth as the pig speaks. And it didn't make a lot of sense, but it was there. I'll give him that. So, of course, the pig thing's trying to get the 2 boys to show him around town, and they're like, no! And so they run off. Yeah, they then the boy from the bathhouse, he shows up and is like, oh, it's a pig, I want to hug you! And then they run around, and it's just good, clean fun, I will say, the commercial break, they usually show a little thing saying hey, here's this character, here's their name, here's their age. In a lot of anime I've seen, they'll show what their blood type is.
Yeah.
Even in anime where that has nothing to do with anything, I've always wondered, do Japanese people care about that? If I went up to a Japanese person, I'm like, hey, what's your blood type? Would they just instantly know that? Yeah.
They would. In Japan, it's your sign or something.
Oh, okay, I guess. So those lads and a couple other lads are in some club that doesn't really do anything, kind of just sit around club, I guess.
Of course.
And they're like, hey, we should do something. Oh, we got to make this club official. And they're like, well, we'll need a teacher, a mentor for the club. And then the pig guy walks in and he's like, hey, show me around. I'm like, I don't know. But then, I don't know, some magic happens and they all turn into these what did the girls on Sailor Moon turn into? Those kind of magic-y people? Imagine that, but it's basically making fun of that. I'm pretty sure the anime is going out of its way to be outrageous because they just certainly turn into things and they get little bracelets that they kiss and then they say, just like love can heal all. And I think what they do is they kiss their bracelet. They say love a making, and then they turn into their Sailor Moon types. And then by using loving, and then they use their inner love to get these love sticks that they can then fight with. And it's just purposely nonsense.
Okay.
All right. So and they go out to the schoolyards, and there's this large food monster that they have to fight with love. And they beat the snot out of that food monster, and then it turns out it was actually a boy who's turned into a food monster.
Okay.
Okay. And then at the very end, very ominous, the student council are up on the roof watching them. And then a like blue hamster thing pops up on their shoulder, and he's like, "This means war." And it was the maddest thing I'd ever seen, but I'm pretty sure they intended it to be mad. Like, there's this moment where they're all just like making up attack moves, and then they attack. And after a while, the pink bear thing says like, "Hey, stop just making up names." And I'm like, that's humor right there, huh?
All right.
So, Jack, have you seen this one?
No, I haven't seen this one.
You didn't get to episode 4 before you stopped watching?
No, I looked at it and thought it was going to be like the free swimming show, so...
I don't think it is.
It's actually kind of funny and not terrible.
I didn't say that. I just said it's not, like, free.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I'd probably give it a 1 out of 10. I mean, that's just me. I could see someone giving it a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
Not me. I mean, I just thought, okay. Let's just turn this off. All right. Up next, and to Shikokuaishu, also known as Assassination Classroom.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of this one, haven't you? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm reading the manga to this one. I haven't seen the anime yet, but I'm caught up with wherever it is in the manga.
All right. Well, there's this, the Walmart smiley face? Well, it grew some tentacles and put on its teaching cap and said, "All right, I want you to get some kids." Well, actually, no, it goes out and finds some kids, the schmucks of some school. They're class E, if you know what I'm saying.
The worst, lowest class.
Now, in Japan, don't they just randomly assign you to, like, class A, B, C, D, and then the year you are so you'll be like A1, meaning your first year in a class A, or is that not it?
As far as I know, I'm not 100% on this, but I think it must be random, but I don't know. Maybe in schools, maybe it is. A is closer to like the advanced class, and E is closer to the special slower class. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, anywho, so this thing, he mentioned he's not an alien, so I'm wondering if he's like a government experiment or if he's a plot point that they aren't going to explain. I mean, he could be a lot of things, but he shows up and is like, "All right, so I'm gonna train these kids up, and if in 1 year they don't kill me, I'll destroy the earth." And they're like, "Well, can you really do that?" But he already practically destroyed the moon, so they're pretty sure he can. He's a real quick devil. He's real quick, and he's jolly and such. But he's going to kill them all pretty soon if they don't get their act together. And I'm like, all right, well, that's good. So they're all given little BB guns that can shoot BBs that just hurt him and don't hurt each other. Yeah, I think they all get some special knives too, and they're all trying to kill him, but he's just too quick for him. I don't know what else to say. I think the kids get rich if they kill him, and In the first episode, I think they came up with some scheme that seemed pretty reasonable, but didn't work out. And I imagine in future episodes, you start to get to know each one of the characters, and you maybe start to look into the plot of why the Walmart monster is trying to destroy the world.
Well, you don't do that last part.
Well, you get to meet each of the characters at least.
Yeah.
As they try to learn about each other whilst they're learning about killing things.
Basically, from what I can tell, it tries to be like an assassination kind of anime, but it's not violent at all because they have these knives that only hurt him and bullets that only hurt him. And
yeah,
they start off trying to kill him, but then he's just, like a super duper plot device. Like he's super fast, super invincible, super smart. So he just teaches them and makes them all get good test scores, and they slowly kind of stop actively trying to kill him. But I guess that's still their goal.
Well, if nothing else, they're learning.
Exactly, yeah.
They're learning who they are. I mean, it's kind of like the Breakfast Club, except they have to kill the teacher.
It's exactly like that.
I guess it looks okay. I guess if my main qualm will be, did they stick this smiley face in there as just to be there, or are they actually going to go into it? Because if they go into it, it could be interesting and, undercovering this deeper conspiracy. If he's just there and there's just some kids and they're doing their thing, I don't really want to watch that.
Yeah, I wish they would go more into it, but they kind of don't. It's basically just kind of a daily life thing, but with him thrown in so he can help them be super smart and super athletic or whatever.
All right, on to the next, and we'll make it the last one for this episode. A Death Parade, also known by its English name, Death Billiards. Now, I know you've heard of this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty well-known little critter. I'm guessing. Basically, I just look at them, and if it looks reasonably interesting, I think Jack and Laven probably thought about watching this. And if it looks horrible, then I'm just assuming you two didn't watch it.
I did think about watching it. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet. All right. Laven, is it good of you to join us? I was just telling the listeners that you were off on safari trying to bring us the latest in anime. What did you find?
You weren't recording that part, Laven? You got a fast computer. I'm always recording 24/7.
Yeah. As you know, Richard Nixon is my hero, and so I always try to imitate him, and that's why I set up recording instruments all over the place. It's also why I'm always talking about, how are we going to get out of Vietnam? Got to exit with peace. Am I right, Kissinger? You're right, sir. We need to exit. And McNamara, I don't want you bombing no more. Watergate.
That's how it went down. It's not really that funny. It's an American tragedy, but okay. Guess we can make fun of it.
Too soon? Too soon?
A little bit. Stings a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Still trying to recover.
I'm just a lad when that happened, man. Life never was the same after that. You could never trust the government after that, man.
We got Jimmy Carter after that.
No, you got Ford.
After Herb Gerald Ford. I wasn't wrong. He came after him.
Yeah, but
just one later.
The way you worded it was a little off. Well, it sounded a little off to me, I should say.
I guess people make fun of Gerald Ford as much as they make fun of Jimmy Carter, so it's okay.
Jimmy Carter was a national treasure.
Says some people.
Look, why do people not like Jimmy? 2 reasons. The Iran hostage situation and the OPEC cartel making gas prices go up through the roof. 2 things he had almost no control over. And that's all he's remembered for.
Yeah.
And then old, Good Morning in America, old Reagan comes along and starts sweet-talking everyone. And
is that what we're calling Reagan now? Old Good Morning in America?
Yeah. And everyone's just like, I like the cut of his jib. And personally, I never did like the cut.
It was a poorly cut jib.
Mm-hmm.
If I've ever seen one. Pretty jagged, full of holes, and misdirection.
I will grant you, it was better than old Richard Nixon's jib, but...
Well, they weren't running against each other. So, that was not really to be compared.
I think that would make a great anime. Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan. They both suddenly appear on a planet where they need to run against each other for president of Japan. Both using their wiliest tricks, they strive to see who can be elected.
Funded.
Tell me we could not pitch this. Just tell me that.
Well, we can pitch anything. We can pitch it in the trash.
I want to learn how to animate so bad right now.
4 years later, we go up to some anime person and be like, hey, we've got something for you. We've been working on it for a good while. We give him the VCR, he pops it in, and just a random thing that would make no sense to a Japanese person just shows up.
It's a series of still shots on napkins of showing the motions of the panels. And you're like, all right, and then he goes over here, and then don't worry, there's just a coffee stain.
And you're like, I am not a crook, but we'd have to figure out how to say that in Japanese, and then
we could make a visual novel. There's no way my presidents can't be this cute.
Yeah, they have to also maybe go to a school club and do this.
Well, they're actually only running for school council president.
They're high school versions of themselves running for student council.
Yeah, we could probably secretly have some thing like that, but for any American, they'd look at it and be like, does that kind of look like Richard Nixon to you? I mean, it can't be, right? I mean, this is Japanese. Did he not just put his hands up and shake his jowls all around? I mean, you're seeing it, right?
Ohio, Nixon-san. That sounded more like Spiro Agnew.
Well, I tell you, a couple good lads. Anywho, Laven, if you're done with your whatever it is you're doing, I was about to describe the fine anime known as Death Parade. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah.
Did it look like a shiner, or did it look like a weed that needed to be pulled from the garden, or did it look like a small plant that needed some help, needed the soil to be tilled?
It looked like a cartoon, not like botany in any way.
Well, anywho, let me describe to you frame by frame what happens in the first episode so you don't have to go through and watch it yourself.
Is it literally going to be frame by frame?
Frame 1, black. Frame 2, black.
There you go.
So it starts off, there's 2 elevators, they come down. A man and a woman come out, and they're like, what's going on? Oh, darling, I don't know where we are. And they walk up to the barkeep, and they're like, barkeep, where are we? What's going on here? And he says, oh, you can't leave. You must play a game. And like, screw you, old man. And they start to walk away, but they can't leave. And they come back and like, all right, what's the game? And he's like, all right, you got to pick a game at random. I'm like, screw you, old man. All right, we'll pick a game at random. And so they get darts. And he shows them the darts, and they say, screw you, and then they start playing darts. And the thing is, they both have 400 points, which is completely arbitrary, and they're throwing their darts at the dartboard. But the different parts of the dartboard will hurt the other person in very specific places, and the more points you get, the more they're hurt, and whoever essentially hurts the other person the most gets the lowest number of points, lives, and the other person dies. I mean, you got to realize, these people, they just got married, and he's like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, come on, this can't be real. So he chucks his, and then suddenly she's, oh, God, ow, that hurt. And he's like, oh my. Well, why don't you try it just in case? And ow, golly, it hurt me too. And they're like, screw you, old man. Give me some darts and I'll keep throwing. And he's like, you don't have to hurt each other. You can just throw it off to the side if you want. Well, yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, he's probably joking about this whole us dying thing. And so they're chucking some darts off to the side. But then suddenly they have this long, dramatic going back and forth where he's remembering when at the wedding, he overheard some people talk about how she was actually in love with another man, and she's like, no, honey, I am pregnant. And he's like, okay, I'll sacrifice myself for you. And then she starts laughing. She's like, hey, I actually was in love with another man. I just married you for your money. See? And but he's like, oh, no. And so they then each go separately to the two different elevators. But it turns out what happened was they were both driving along on their honeymoon. And they careened off the side of a cliff and both died. And then they came here to decide which one, should they go to heaven or hell, essentially. But I think it'd be more like, should you be reincarnated or should you be sent to the abyss? And so eventually the woman, because it turns out she was a bad woman, she went to the abyss. And because the man, he was a good man, I mean, except for careening the car off to the side of the road and killing them both, which kind of was bad. Well, anywho, he was a good man and he gets reincarnated. And so the barkeep, who never served a single drink through the entire episode, can I just say, if you're a bartender, the most you could do is say, like, hey, you want something to drink? By the way, you got to play a game to the death.
You can serve one drink?
Not one. So he goes back and he's kind of saying hi to all the other death barkeeps, it's like, hey, Jimmy, what's going on? Oh, just killing people. What about you? Oh, just killing people. And he comes across a couple foxy looking ladies and they're like, hey, we'll show up in future episodes. And he's like, all right. And then the anime ended. So what'd you think of it? Was it everything you hoped for?
What did you think of it overall?
I thought it had potential. That first one, the first episode, it wasn't good, but, you can only do so much in the pilot, and I could see where they were going with it. They're not just going to have every single episode be a couple people show up and they got to play a game. I imagine they'll shake things up, and they'll talk about the backstories of the different barkeepers and, walk around Death City and just live their life in a kind of alternate universes sort of way. Maybe describe how each one of them get there. They could go, it looks like they could go nice and deep.
I watched the OVA of it where they played pool for the game. It was the same kind of thing where two guys came in and they died at the same time and they played pool. And it's like, all right, every time you sink a shot, they'll get hurt. And then it turns out one guy was a bad man and the other one was just an old man who was okay.
You go to You can cut that out of the podcast. You don't need racist Patrick on a show as fine as this. Well, what about you, Laven? What'd you think of it?
Sounded neat. I mean, I have the anime film downloaded and ready to watch.
So I just ruined it for you, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Well, you might as well not watch it.
Didn't really appreciate that, but whatever. Aside from that.
Well, hold on here for a second. Is that what the Anibros is? It's just like, hey, do you like anime? Well, you'll hate us because we're just going to ruin all the anime for you.
Well, yeah, but we're the ones supposed to ruin it. I don't want to get ruined by my own show.
When you tune in, you expect to have anime ruined. That's the whole purpose of this show.
I guess.
So the next anime is Seinahai, Heroine no Sodakata.
Well, that's unsearchable.
The English form of that, I believe, is Saekano, how to raise a boring girlfriend.
Okay.
Okay. So we start off, and there's a otaku boy heading off to school. And I think it's the first day, and they have like a big assembly. And so two girls show up, and in true anime fashion, they're both ranked as like number one in prettiness. And they're kind of also number one in studies, and they're kind of competing in a variety of ways. He goes up to each of the girls, and the first girl, it turns out that she's secretly a real good manga drawer and draws for some kind of risque manga. And she's like, don't tell anyone, otaku boy. And he's like, oh, I was at the bus stop, and this girl's hat fell down, and I picked it up and looked behind me at her and thought, this would make an amazing scene in an anime game. And I wrote the script. And she looks at us like, what? This is terrible. You're crazy. And he's like, come to the art room after school and give me one last shot to try to, I really want to make this anime game. And you're the greatest drawer there is. And she's like, you're crazy. And so he goes up to the other girl. And she secretly is like a great, what are they, dojin or doju? She writes manga story kind of things. I don't think she draws them. She just writes the stories. And he's like, hey, I gives her the same spiel. I need you to help me write the greatest script for this new game. What do you say? And she says, I think you're crazy, and walks off. He's like, meet me at the art room after school, though.
Wait a minute. So he's not writing it or drawing it?
Well, no, he's more of an ideas man.
Okay.
Particularly this one idea of him picking up a hat, and he would like to form a game around that hat picking up activity. I don't know, some kind of like, couldn't you imagine yourself going to some website and off on the side is some little like, pick up the hat and win a free iPod. That's what I'm guessing.
That he needs to gather a team to create for him.
Yeah, that's my guess. I mean, I could be wrong. That's my guess.
Newgrounds.
So he's heading off to, I forget if it's the anime room or AV room. I think he's like the head AV guy. And I think someone even said like, hey, someone needs a TV. And he's like, tell that someone I'm busy right now. I've got life in front of me. And he keeps running up the stairs. I'm like, freaking otaku. And so he's walking to the room, and this girl's like, oh, hey, otaku boy. So, oh, hey, girl. And she's like, hey, thanks for that hat picking up you did the other day. And he's like, oh, yeah, no thing. And then he stops and he runs back to her and says, wait a second. I think we could make a video game together.
What?
And then it goes back to the AV room where the two girls who don't really like each other are sitting there waiting for him. And they're like, yeah, he's not coming, is he? And they're like, no, he isn't. And that was the first episode.
That was the whole thing?
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I can take some educated guesses by the ending, by the intro, and by like just various pictures. I think another girl is going to show up, and I'm going to also guess this is going to be a kind of harem thing where they all sort of secretly love Otaku Boy and they start making their video game. And I'm also guessing from the intro, he's going to fall in love with the blonde-haired girl. So yeah, there you go. That's my guess. I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be strip bought on.
That sounded, I mean, they must have padded it out or maybe missed something because that sounded extremely short. He asked two girls to come to a room and then
but he had to describe to the hat picking up scene. I mean, I didn't go into a lot of detail on it, but he certainly did. And they got a lot of hat picking.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Well, what'd you think, Laven? Are you a hat picker by trade?
More by hobby.
More by reputation, maybe? Yeah. Well, do you think that you'll watch a fellow hat picker in this anime, or do you think you'll have to skip on it?
I did watch episode 0 of the show.
Oh, is that like before episode 1?
It is.
Oh.
And based on that episode, I decided not to watch the rest of the episodes.
Well, what happened in that one?
Not a whole lot, just a lot of fan service and some excuses for the fan service to be shown.
Oh, really? I don't think I really saw that in episode 1. Did the blonde-haired girl show up in episode 0?
I don't really remember.
Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 of them in episode 0.
Oh, really?
Okay, yeah. I feel like they went on the rounds and showed all the girls off.
But all the girls, they didn't know him in episode 0.
I think
they did in episode 0.
Yeah, they all went to the bathhouse and just played around.
Why would they? I mean, episode
I
1 is when they all met up and started making the game. So before that, they wouldn't have known it. Why would they have gone to a bathhouse?
It must just be an ambiguous
time travel
timeline where they all just know each other and they're the characters that they become at the end of the series.
The blonde-haired one. Well, I thought it said it was his childhood friend in episode 0. She was the sassy one, the childhood friend.
Yeah,
she was a sassy one, huh?
And then the other one was the lewd one who would always say sexual puns to him.
Yeah.
Then there's a sporty one, and then there was the plain one. But you say that in episode 1, they had never met him before.
Well, they had met him before, but like one of the girls, the hat-picking girl, she didn't seem to know him that well, and he hadn't met the, I'm guessing, childhood friend yet. So I'm guessing she moves back to town and is a good voice actress or whatever else you need for a game. She's a good programmer. How about that? So you both watched episode 0 and decided not to continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, apparently it gets top tier, is what Patrick described to me just a second ago. And that I should totally not waste my time on this podcast any longer. I should be watching the show.
He talks to 2 girls and asks them to meet him in a room.
Yeah.
He talks to over 2 girls in episode 0, so I don't know, it's going downhill.
Well, he'll work his way up. All right, lads. Well, I don't know. It's getting a little late for me here. Is there something you two want to add? Maybe, stories from beyond the podcast. We could start doing a little segment about that.
What do you mean by that?
It's just something you wanted to say to the good people. You've got many thousands of people in the palm of your hand. They would be willing to start a riot if we instigated it. I mean, what do you want to tell all of our legions of followers?
Take it easy.
Don't give up.
Don't stop believing.
I guess that too.
What was that? What was the Journey song?
You said it already.
What do you mean?
Don't stop believing.
Yeah, but what's the rest of it?
Hold on to that feeling.
It's feeling.
We're never gonna something, right?
Streetlight People.
Let me just start. Okay, what was the beginning? It was like, just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She got on the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He got on the midnight train going anywhere. Oh, I'm going to have to make up some of the lyrics here. Sunrise and sunset. Yeah, okay. I don't remember that song, but that's
close.
The one I was thinking of. Essentially,
I almost had it.
Come to think of it, I have no idea what that song's about. Do those 2 characters eventually find each other and fall in love or something?
No, I
think
they
start a video game.
The
company.
story stops in the first verse, and then they just kind of repeat the chorus.
Well, what happens when they get on the midnight train going anywhere?
That's the last you hear of them, and then the rest of the song is just the chorus.
Well,
about-
it's also the first you hear of them, so
yeah.
you sure they don't like mention? And then they find each other on the midnight train going anywhere. And now they've settled down and got a house at a 5.4 mortgage rate. And they have steady jobs, living the American dream.
And then Rush threw me his special coin.
You know, we're kind of like those kids wanting to make the video game, you know, where we should walk up to someone and be like, man, there was this one night we were kind of standing around and Patrick, he said, I don't remember the chorus or the lyrics or anything, but it was pretty funny, man. What do you say we make some songs about it?
Except we can't play the instruments or write the songs. We need to find more people to do
Hey,
that.
meet me in the AV room after school and we'll talk. Just give me one more chance, all right? I think I can convince you.
I wonder how he is going to convince him.
Well, I mean, after standing him up, he's got no shot. I bet the rest of the anime, they just forget about it. Unless the girls are secretly in love with him and are willing to do this stupid thing for him. All right. Well, I'll see you, Lance. You, keep it tight. They find each other on the midnight train going anywhere. And now they've settled down and got a house at a 5.4 mortgage rate. And they have steady jobs, living the American dream.